Catalano, 7339 Erie Road, Derby. I'm opposed to having our taxes go up. I'm opposed to the measure that you adopted after that long public hearing, and everybody said, don't raise the tax cap. And you methodically said, aye, and the tax cap is raised. And I'm wondering if I'm just wasting my time here talking to my public officials, or any of these people for that matter. What I came here to do was take about 3 minutes to give you some feedback. I don't know how much feedback you get during the course of the day, but I wrote this on Facebook, and I'm not going to mention names here, the first names only, to tell you what people are thinking. Town taxes have increased 20% in the past 2 years. The proposed new 2018 budget calls for another increase in spending, $1,800,000. For those up to their necks in taxes, I don't know where they will get the money, especially those on fixed incomes. The average police salary is nearly $93,000, but with all the benefits factored in, the average cost to taxpayers is $147,693,000 per patrolman per year. While the town of Evans is teetering on the brink of bankruptcy, with all its reserve accounts depleted, the police union wants to negotiate for more. Evans voters will decide on election day if the number of councilmen should be upsized from 2 to 4. An increase will carry with it even more spending for salary, benefits, etc. Many people believe the town should cut services rather than raise taxes again. Cut services, yes. There's only one choice: you raise taxes or you cut services. That's it. Every homeowner knows that if they can't pay their taxes, they can lose their homes. We may have reached the point of trying to squeeze blood from a stone. In response to that, Craig, I won't give you last names, said, "This is exactly why I don't live in my hometown anymore after several generations of my family have lived there." Jack said, "This is what you call getting blood out of a rock." Andrea, "Police are paid too much in that town. Nothing goes on." Jason, "That's why the police department should be taken over by the sheriffs." Craig, again, "We got Town of Evans police working a second job in Gowanda. Money, money, money." John, "Good. Who cares? It's not our tax money paying this. Let them all get second jobs so they can cut our taxes." Ann said, "Well, that sure makes me glad I'm not living there anymore." Clay, there is a petition in circulation asking for a referendum. The question is, should the Evans Police be merged into the Erie County Sheriff's Department so the taxpayers can decide? Dustin said, "Blood from a rock." Clay, Evanstown Board meeting, October 18th. A resident is given the privilege of the floor and explains why he thinks that Evans Police are making more money than other police departments. A man in the audience begins heckling him, disrupting the meeting. Surprisingly, the supervisor allows the heckler to continue. The speaker tells the heckler that "you're speaking out of turn." Only one person can have the floor at a time. The police officer on duty says nothing to the heckler, but confronts the speaker at the podium, picks up the man's papers and places them in the man's folder, and stands inches away from him in an obvious act of intimidation. The man thereafter took his seat. To me, it was obvious that the cop was attempting to intimidate the man who had the privilege of the floor. That sends a chilling message to anyone who wants to exercise their free speech at a public meeting. And it may well send the message, you better not criticize the Evans Police. The police officer took an oath to defend the Constitution, and the First Amendment is part of that Constitution. So if you intimidate a man exercising his civil rights, that's not defending, that's not doing your job. You're violating your oath of office. Maybe that's why later I was informed that the heckler was the former chief of police. Maybe that's why he wasn't ejected from the meeting. The incident looked like something out of a Banana Republican. Renee said, "That's terrible. That guy is now going to have to watch his back and hope that he doesn't need to call the police for help at any time." Now, I'll end with a personal story about cutting services. I don't think our services are all that great, Madam Supervisor. About a year after Barry Moss was killed in a hit-and-run accident on Route 5, I was almost killed on Route 5 by a DOT plow truck. The snow was this high. I was shoveling out my mailbox. The plow came right at me. I've lived on Route 5 for a long time. I know what plows do. They retract the plow, they pick up the plow, they move over a little bit so they don't get anywhere near a pedestrian. But he had his plow sitting on the shoulder of the road, and he kept coming at me, and I said to myself, he's gonna run me over if he doesn't move over. Well, he was coming right at me. And I can't run very fast with two artificial hips. But I had to run when he got about 100 foot away, and I reached the opening of the drive, and I ducked in, and he went thundering by and gave me the finger. Well, I called the police. I tracked down his name through the DOT supervisor. They found out who it was. The lieutenant interviewed the man and came to my house and said, I said, I'm ready to sign the complaint. He said, I'm not going to accept your complaint. Not going to accept my complaint? That's their job, to accept my complaint. I said, well, give me his name so I can pursue that through civil action. No, I'm not going to give you his name. He just did an investigation, and he refused to give me the man's name. I talked to the man's supervisor. The supervisor said, well, the driver said that you were challenging the plow, whatever that means. That I was standing there and I wouldn't move, so I almost lost my life because somebody wanted to put a good scare into me. Well, the policeman said you're gonna have to do a FOIL request for the town of Evans. I did. The answer came back from the chief of police that the investigating officer did not write down the man's name, the suspect's name, who they interviewed. Now, that's about the stupidest excuse I've ever heard in my life. I mean, they're gonna lie to me, make it a good one. Not the dog ate my homework. Don't tell me that you don't know who it is. They know who it is. But if you don't play ball with the town of Evans, you don't get any services. There's a lot of people in this town that don't get services that you take for granted. By the way, I should end this by saying, I agree with another speaker who said, this whole budget mess was dumped on you. It was a disaster and it was dumped on you and it's not your fault. But every time you go to a Democratic shindig and talk to the people in the Democratic Party, the people who have been there for a long time, those are the people that did it. Many of those people are still there. They slap you on the back and say, Mary, you're doing a great job. But they screwed this town up, and I want you to know that everybody in the town knows it. So, I'll end by saying, bring in the sheriff department. We don't get the services you think we're getting. Thank you.